Hello, good day. I'm coming in here on Sunday, late afternoon, to tap in for our week ahead collective card pulls. And in so doing, there's a lot of activity going on here with the kids and household noises abounding outside my door. I've got some incense going, and I'm feeling drawn to bring in this spiritual protection. I was just bringing in the silver energy of the crown chakra for just opening up. I want to just really allow myself to bring through, with some intention for us this week collectively, just what we need to receive at this time, and perhaps what we're ready to receive, because we're always setting the intention that we want to connect in with our higher selves. We want to be connected in with the highest available timeline. I think to that we could even say storyline, because there's been a lot coming up about these different stories and different potentialities that we're all creating and co-creating together. I'm seeing my spiders are winking at me because I'm getting a little co-weaving going on here with all of us. But this spiritual protection is really speaking to me because this week we are going to be venturing from Libra season, Sun in Libra, focusing on relationships, balance, healing, harmony, and transitioning into the depths of Scorpio season. So I'm going to talk about that when we touch on the energetic weather and, these different cycles and the energies that we can experience in the ebb and flow through the dark, the light, and the depths to which Scorpio season can assist us in that endeavor. Wanting to bring in some spiritual protection for us as we prepare to embark on this week ahead. And what I'm going to do is start with our Oracle card, the Halloween Oracle. Of course, this is where we're going to tap into the Oracle and Tarot energies for the week ahead. We're going to be working again with our Trick or Treat Tarot for our collective week ahead messages. We've been enjoying the messages and the way in which they're presented to us through this beautiful deck all month. And bring in an overarching message here for us coming in from the Halloween Oracle from Stacey DeMarco. So let's get this card out here first to just kind of set the tone for us, and we can tune into what we may be expecting this week collectively in terms of the energies from the Halloween Tarot, Trick or Treat Tarot. And then if you would like a personal card pull this week, I would love to do that for you and send that to you through a private polo message. So if you would like a personal card pull to build on these messages we're going to explore, feel free to quick reply here or reach out to me in any way that works for you. And I'll be tapping in for those personal card pulls throughout the week ahead. So let's see what is coming in here from the Halloween Oracle to set the tone for this week. One card. Barmbrack, sweetness and synergy. It's funny, I learned about Barmbrack from this deck when this card has come up in the past. So I know that there's an interesting story here. I love that it's using the word synergy. That's something that's been pinging on my radar in terms of different types of connections, energetic connections, soul connections, following the spiritual breadcrumbs and the synergy and sweetness that comes from following those things in flow. Because, there's so many things to be discovered and uncovered through when we follow the spiritual breadcrumbs that, we are in flow with the energies that are coming in. We're in tune with the signs and symbols and synchronicities that the universe speaks to us in, that along the way we're encountering other souls, energetic circumstances, and opportunities for us to really tap into that. So we'll talk about that one to kick us off, but let's pull out first here our 5 cards from the Trick or Treat Tarot for the week ahead. Asking again for our higher selves, the angelic realm, guides, and ascended masters, loved ones in spirit, all coming forward to facilitate the messages that are most needed at this time for clarity, and yes, there is great opportunities we've been moving through for healing, for growth, and of course, expansion into the new. And so, like I said, the highest available timeline, the highest available storylines that we're tapping into at this time. So let's see what wants to come forward for us through the tarot this week. So Monday is what kicks off the week, sort of, again, sets the tone. So along with Barmbrack from the Halloween Oracle, let's see what's coming forward from the Trick or Treat Tarot for Monday. It's going to be that last final day of Libra season. We've seen this one. This is the 9 of Wands, the ninja protecting all of the best candy that they've gathered. Yeah, there's something to that. This energy of protection and the sweetness and the synergy, and the notion that, and I always like to use this this analogy of trick or treat, and, the idea of the treats and the sweets, and, all the sweetness of things, but also, what that can invite in, or what can be a part of that when it comes to when we have something that others may be attracted to, the shiny thing or the sweet thing that, the 9 of Wands will bring in a need for some sort of protection or some boundaries, sort of some reinforcements around our hard work and what we have built, what we're creating, all that we have done to perhaps bring more peace and balance into our lives, and being very conscious of, again, those interactions with others, and protecting that energy as much as we also want to share abundantly. So right on track for Scorpio season, which will then kick off on Tuesday. So now we pull the Tuesday card. That's the 22nd of October for the potential block or challenge this week. So let's see what's coming forward as a potential block or challenge as we kick off Scorpio season. Oh, and happy birthday to all. We have some Scorpios here for sure. So happy birthday to you all, October and November Scorpios. Okay, Tuesday. The 2 of Wands. So that, I haven't seen her yet, but there's some brain eating going on from this zombie at the door, at this post, this place of looking at these two different options, these different directions, to stay or to go, and it always has us sort of in this position of planning that happens through observation and perspective and comfort zone and familiar versus, kind of heading out into the unknown and where to from here. So we'll take a look at 2s always indicate choice points, a crossroads or a choice point. So yeah, that can be challenging. And so in what way might that be coming up this week as we step into Scorpio season? And then Wednesday, we have the midweek blessing. So let's see what's coming in here for Wednesday. A couple flipped over there. So we'll just give it another go round. That was the Magician. So let's see what is coming in here for Wednesday's midweek blessing. Look who's back. If you remember the very beginning when we started with this deck, the King of Cups came in, the sea monster. So seated in his throne of completely balanced, even-keeled, emotional empathy and understanding, but not too much. We have that. Yeah. And we talked about this one with the fish, with the net, and kind of throwing it out there and seeing what all comes in. And this is, yeah. I know I'm feeling some things there about what's washed up through, all of these emotional waters and all of the things that have been churned up throughout an entire season of air with Libra. Of course, Scorpio is a water sign. So we're in the depths, we're in this place where we have this opportunity to really go through what all has come forward and sift through what's been caught up in the net and make decisions from a really embodied place. That's the thing about a king, is they embody that energy. And this is all about emotional balance and harmony. So that sounds like a blessing for sure. So we'll feel into that for Wednesday. Thursday is how we are growing. See how we are growing this week collectively, what's coming forward. Card for Thursday. There he is again, the Page of Swords. Okay, so last week, Page of Swords flew out for this day, Thursday. I tried to shove him back in. No offense, Page of Swords, but, I was throwing cards all over the place, so I put him back. And sure enough, it came out with 2 cards, and the Page of Swords was one of them. So this energy was present last week as well as to how we are growing bit by bit, because again, the pages are going to be a little bit more early on in that journey of, all of that energy that's coming forward from the swords, which is all about the thoughts, the beliefs, the ideas, clarity, truth, expression, air, energy again. So we will feel into that one. And then Friday wraps it all up for us. So that'll be the 25th. We're a week out from Halloween this week, Thursday. And, this is something that I'm acutely aware of because of having little people around me. So there's definitely a lot of excitement about costumes and trick-or-treating and all the festive fun there. And of course, Samhain coming in and this opportunity for us to really tap in. So that's in the coming week, a week out from what we are wrapping up here this week at hand with the Friday card. So let's see what we get there. Another 2. Wow. Okay. Choice, and more choice. There's these choice points. This is bringing in Romeo and Juliet. Look at that. So this is going to be another 2 for this week. That does denote those partnerships, those agreements, those soul contracts, relationships, friendships, business, and all kinds. And yeah, wow, this will be fun to unpack as well. So definitely feeling some patterns and things coming up for this week. We're going to get into all of it here. I'm going to start with our energetic weather, just a few things I'll be touching on there. We'll roll into our oracle message and then get into the tarot. So once again, feel free to pop in whenever this speaks to you. If you want to watch it all at once, if you want to just dip in on each day. But if you would like a personal card pull this week to kind of round out these messages and kind of see how they're applying more specifically to you, feel free to respond here or send a message to me in whatever way works for you. And I will be happy to send that to you over a private polo. All right, let's get into it and check out that energetic weather. All right, let's get into some of our energetic weather this week. Just 2 aspects I'm going to bring through to mention, all coordinating on Tuesday, October 22nd. As I mentioned, the sun moving into Scorpio. So the sun moving out of that air sign of Libra into the watery, sensitive Scorpio. And, it's under the Scorpio sun that we can really recognize the cycles of life. There's always darkness and light, and we ebb and flow between the two. One cannot exist without the other. So Scorpio season is a time of change where we begin to go inward and reflect on why we are the way we are and what actions have led us to this point in our journey. So it's a very introspective time, and it's one where we may feel the need to withdraw and go within. So yes, all the relationship stuff maybe has had us very outward. It's a time of year where generally there can be a lot of, social things going on in terms of, at least around, my part of the world. October brings about a lot of seasonal things with the pumpkins and the celebrations and the beautiful leaves turning and a lot of, just crisp and cool, but pleasant weather and things that often have people out and about. Whereas Scorpio season has a much more internal, inward, introspective energy where we can kind of pull into ourselves. But the key here that's really jumping out to me is the reflection on why we are the way we are and what actions have led us to this point in our journey. Because we churned up so much good stuff throughout Libra season in terms of how these relationships were playing up to mirror back and reflect back to us so many things. Personally, I am just breaking down and digesting so many things right now that were shared with me and shown to me over this season and through eclipse season, that it's giving me a lot of material to take into my cave and go into introspection with, because So many insights, beautiful, poignant insights from so many individuals that I'm so grateful to have encountered or to encounter again, to cross paths, to come into connection with, because, and I think as we're going to get into with the 𝓲𝓽𝓮, the synergy of it all. So, more to uncover there. It's a deep time. It's a profound time. It can be challenging. I'm going to give you this other aspect, which adds a little flair to that as well. But we're here for it. We're using our tools and allowing this to really serve us when we're in flow with these energies to glean some more insight and awareness. So along with the sun moving into Scorpio, the sun will square Pluto on the 22nd. So again, just in time for Scorpio season, we have the sun squaring Scorpio's ruler, the planet Pluto. Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth, and it reminds us of the temporariness of life. Everything is evolving and shifting from one state to another, endings and new beginnings, death and rebirth. Right? We can see it in our physical bodies and, of course, from all of nature around us. So the sun square Pluto can bring a deeper awareness and have us digging into layers that we've not ventured to before. Yes, it's a potentially intense time, but it's one where we can achieve profound breakthroughs and awakenings. And again, that's kind of how I was seeing that, the spiritual protection with that hand holding the sword breaking through the water, because again, the water is representative of emotions, of flow. It brings us into our feels, into the heart chakra. And so, if nothing else, all of this watery emotional energy has churned up so much, and whatever debris, whatever has come up to the surface through all of that one singular sword. And I'm feeling connected to our repeat page of swords this week for Thursday, how we are growing. That one singular sword is of clarity, is of truth, is of cutting through and utilizing that to also exact certain understandings and awarenesses that previously may have been outside of our grasp, or, just we didn't have that as part of our consciousness that we're coming into now. So there's true expansion. Death and rebirth, death of an old way of thinking, an old belief system, the birth of something new, a new higher truth, of something that's being illuminated for us, that's coming into our awareness through the emotional waters. So let's go ahead now and see what this 𝓲𝓽𝓮 is all about, and then we will get into our tarot messages for the week. All right, into our Halloween oracle message we go. We have 𝓲𝓽𝓮 coming in with sweetness and synergy. And I'm laughing because I've talked to a couple people, and some of you know who you are, where I've been all weekend, these different words that were swirling around about a relationship or connection between two things that can be either individually or mutually beneficial. And I know there's a couple of different ways to say that, symbiotic and such, but here comes synergy now, just to add another layer. And in fact, synergy is that interaction or cooperation of two or more organizations, substances, or other agents that produce a combined effect that's greater than the sum of their separate effects. So when we think about that word synergy and the sweetness, wanted to share with you a little Oxford language around that word as well. So the little prose that goes with this card is a pea, a cloth, a coin, a ring, and stick. Within a loaf of speckled sweetness, slice it and eat it, a glimpse of my fate's completeness. So, 𝓲𝓽𝓮, not quite a cake and not quite a bread. 𝓲𝓽𝓮 is a sweet loaf, larger than a typical bread loaf, baked with flour, sugar, salt, and dried fruits such as raisins. The making of 𝓲𝓽𝓮 is an Irish tradition that still stands around Samhain, Halloween. The person baking the loaf would be sure to set the intention for love, truth, and synergy whilst preparing. Now, inside the dough, a number of special objects are hidden and baked into the loaf. The objects are used as a kind of random oracle. Each one has a particular meaning which represents the fate of the person who found it in their slice. The traditional objects include a coin, a pea, a stick, a ring, and a small piece of cloth like muslin. Some other additions made it more modern times were religious medals. Should your slice of the brack contain a coin, this would indicate prosperity and good luck. The pea, unfortunately, meant that no marriage would occur for you that year. Yet finding the ring meant a marriage was certain. The stick, to be avoided at all costs, indicated disputes and unhappiness, and finding the cloth meant bad luck and little money ahead. Now, when you receive barmbrack, as we have here, it indicates a curiosity to know what is ahead, but it's important to balance that with the now. After all, we have the tools to change our future should we choose. The sweet synergy of barmbrack. All the ingredients, including the objects, are more complete and powerful together than they are individually. So this should encourage us to seek our own sweet spot. Wow. So a lot of layers there. First of all, the whole time I'm reading that, any of these older traditional, again, beliefs, and even, superstitions and things that we give energy to. We talked about this last week. Expectation equals magnetization. So if we believe that, getting the one item in the bread that's going to mean, yep, sorry, no wedding for you this year because you got the pea, then there we give it energy. But it's much more symbolic than that, because I would say that all of those things are ingredients that round out the wholeness of life, which is not all sweet. Right? And so there is this energy of, it's a little bit of all of it, but ultimately we get to decide. So utilizing those things alone as an oracle or some, definitive sentencing of what our reality is to be, is very limiting. And can we see that, even in saying can we be shown the highest timeline, storylines that are available to us at this time? We're always greeting that with our own free will. So this is not about predicting the future, telling you how it's going to be, forecasting or foreshadowing something. It's about checking into the energy, which is complex, which does have many layers, which is a synergy of all of those things that ultimately we get to decide, what we are going to do with those ingredients and how we wish to utilize those to create our own stories. So I love this card coming up for us to set the tone. It's fun. And plus, maybe we just learned something we didn't know about barmbrack. So with that in mind, let us get into now our tarot messages for the week. Okay, here we go. We are going to bring up our repeat card for Monday, coming in here as the 9 of Wands. So this is one that we saw at one point throughout the month so far. And so therefore we know that this particular trick-or-treater is a ninja and is known as the king of treats in their neighborhood by collecting the biggest bag of candy on offer. And the idea that this is a feat that really took a lot of strategizing, speed, good memory, quickness, but that winning the contest is just one phase of being the candy king, because now the treat ninja can't help showing off the prize, but in so doing, puts it all at risk from would-be snatchers. So it captures this energy of the 9 of Wands that can speak to a need for protection, for sort of withdrawing with some boundaries and such, being alert, having some discipline as well. There can also be, it's saying wounded warrior, but there is a sense of sort of like being sort of battle worn by a lot of the other players that may be really wanting of our energy in some ways, that we could be kind of depleted in that way, that's calling for some stamina in some ways. But through the trick-or-treater tarot, the message is saying that when this card comes up, you've won but you can't relax to enjoy it, because despite the hard work, diligence, courage, maybe even luck, the victory you seek isn't assured. The war, so to speak, hasn't been won. So although this victory might put you in a better strategic position, and you might be tempted to celebrate or even relax, the situation requires constant vigilance. So those who oppose your plans aren't ready to give up. Your job is to stay alert, watch for signs of impending attack. As with all things in life, don't go too far and slip into paranoia. I'm getting a much more like energetic vibe here. Like, I do not feel like this is talking about people that are out to snatch your candy. But yes, energy. So being a good steward of our energy and being protective of the ways in which we are maybe leeching energy unknowingly, unwittingly to those. And hey, let's stick with the theme, energy vampires, right? So in all these different costumes and roles that people play, if anything, that this season has taught us as we become perhaps more keenly aware of different relationships in our lives and the role that they play, but also the role that we play in those relationships, as we've been talking so much about our different brilliant disguises and roles, and the way that a lot of times these things are happening unconsciously, outside of our conscious awareness. And so, there is a sense of sorry, I'm just cleaning up ash that's coming from my incense here. I used the card to scoot it off. Let's see, what was it? Skull of Flowers. Oh my gosh, stop, you guys. Look, can you read it? Creating through the ashes. I just used it to sweep the ashes off of my altar, but that's a gorgeous card. Wow. So I love that. We'll talk about that with the wands. Okay. So this is really feeling with the lightsaber, being really protective of your light, your inner light, your energy, and being cognizant of the way that you can be leeching energy unwittingly. And even again, I'm not talking about evildoers or would-be candy snatchers from a very conscious and, sinister way, but I'm talking about just being aware of the situations, people, places, and things that can be very depleting of our energy, and that you have worked very hard, especially just here in this season, in these energies that we've been navigating, to really find a place of equilibrium, of balance, of harmony, and bringing in some real healing for yourself, to just be very cognizant of having some good energetic hygiene for yourself is what I'm feeling there. Let's take a look now, though, at this card for Tuesday for our potential block or challenge. All right, Tuesday is our potential block or challenge, and we definitely have some zombie brains going on here. And yeah, that's funny that I just happened to refer to this creating through the ashes energy when these first two cards of the week are in fact the Wands suit. The previous card, the Nine of Wands, and now this card, the Two of Wands, denote that fire energy, that sacral chakra of creativity, of desire and passion, of the way that we are expressing it in the world. And yes, there's a lot of that energy that we were just talking about with the Nine of Wands that now the Two of Wands brings forward rather uniquely in this card. So let's see what's going on with the Trick or Treat Tarot, and then we'll tune into the messages from there. So it says, our poor zombie seems confused, which seems in character. Faced with two perfectly delicious brains on sticks, it's like a state fair treat for zombies. I didn't even notice that they were on sticks, but of course they are, because this is the wand suit. So the two wands have brains at the top of them. Okay, I love it. She can't seem to decide which one to eat, or perhaps just which one to eat first, because unless another zombie comes along, she can probably have them both. When this card comes up, you will face a choice. The bad news is that you will have a hard time deciding. The good news is that you can't make a bad pick. Both options are very attractive, and either could produce really great results. This is indeed a very trick or treat card. Lucky for you, there is a way to make this decision. If all things truly are equal, and their pros and cons list cancel each other out, then there is only one thing to do. grab the one that ignites your desire, that makes you not just say yes, but heck yeah. And so, yeah, so what this is saying is this way or that way, stay, go, choice point. And it's saying you can't go wrong either way because you're going to have an experience one way or another. And, and so when we're talking about staying in our joy and focusing on creating from a place of inspiration, then we are drawn into the thing that feels the most exciting, the thing that maybe feels the most energizing, the thing that makes our heart smile. And so, it's bringing forward exciting possibility, vision, authority, intention. This can be in the realm of career, our work, our creative expression, or some type of decision, and having confidence. So whatever you decide, do it confidently, do it boldly, knowing that. And yeah, the magician winked at me during the card pull too, because the magician is that reminder that, like, number one, you've already got all the tools you need to make your magic, but you need to have that willingness to use those tools, play with them, see what you can create and co-create with others from a genuinely curious place, from a place that understands that you can't go wrong. Yes, there is cause and effect. And yes, it's important for us to have good discipline around, not being irresponsible with our choices, but also recognizing that we can allow ourselves to play a little more. And that could be tricky for some people. There's a block or a challenge there because we might be very rigid in our planning, wanting things to be very predictable, wanting to have assurances before we put ourselves out there. And also, the other thing is with these brains being on the outside and in the head is obviously a zombie. We're not being told to use our brains so much in this endeavor. It really is about, and I'm feeling, yes, the heart, but the passion and the sense of, creativity and joy, solar plexus, like really feeling drawn into the belly there, like this notion of, the solar plexus and really what we are sensing as what we are feeling aligned with is what we are encouraged to step into right now, and to allow ourselves to be more creative with that, to allow ourselves to be more mindless with that, and not so caught up in the analysis paralysis of it. And because if you find yourself where you're very much in the head, very much playing out all the scenarios, trying to get ahead of every possible thing that could happen around every corner, you're sucking the joy right out of it, right? Talk about an energy vampire. What if that is your monkey mind is the energy vampire? The energy of who's coming to snatch your sweetness and your synergy is that, hyper analytical aspect of us that's often driven by the ego because it's coming from a place of wanting to feel safe, of trying to keep us only creating from that which we already know, because everything else is like, all bets are off. I don't know. I'm not sure what could happen. And that feels unsafe. So I cling to what I know. Breaking that, transcending that, is challenging for many of us to take that chance and to go for it. And so, like I said, we have 2 2s showing up this week. Funny, because this one represents the day 2-2, 10-22, the actual, day that denotes those double 2s, which is a double choice point. It's really amplifying the energy of the number 2, which also, yes, choice point, crossroads there, but also speaks to, again, those partnerships, alliances, contracts, connections. So, I think that there could be some challenges there because it's out of comfort zone for sure. It could be, taking a step into uncharted territory that we really feel that we want to analyze it to death. But we're being encouraged to kind of stick those brains on a spike and put them to the side while we tune into our excitement and sense of creative energy and really tapping into our own inner light, creating from there. So let's take a look now at the Wednesday card for our midweek blessing. Now we come into Wednesday, our midweek blessing, and we have another repeater, the King of Cups. So this sea monster here, coming in with that cup that is brimming with something good, something green in that cup. It's oozing, I believe it says here. So the Sea King thinks that you're just as charming as can be. Want to sit by his throne and share some of his slimy green beverage? No? Okay. Says you might want to reconsider that. Refusing his friendly overtures may cause offense. Do you really want this guy's mischievous malice oozing in your direction? So this is going to speak to an energy around us this week as a midweek blessing. Like I say, the court cards, and specifically here, the kings, they can represent aspects of yourself, of others in your orbit, or a personality or a trait that's coming up, or an energy of a situation around you that, you know, this one represents someone who makes decisions from their heart. What were we just saying about the zombie brains and the choice point and getting out of the head? And yes, in checking in with the heart, and also the fire of the inspiration and the creativity. So this is bringing us back. So we were saying that the challenge is in separating the head from the desire. And now in the middle is the heart, and the middle is our midweek blessing. And so I think it's kind of like balancing out for us the two, because like I said, we don't want to irresponsibly go around like, well, just because I want it, I'm doing it, you know, and I'm completely lost in desire for something that's all heated up, and we can have this sort of crash and burn when it comes to those connections and those such things, that we're bringing it back up into the heart from a balanced place, an emotionally balanced place. So checking in with those emotions. So making decisions from the heart in ways that benefit relationships and, when possible, a greater good. So when the Knight of Cups, which is, you know, another aspect of this suit, is idealistic, the king here is not naive and never loses sight of the big picture. So this is like emotional maturity. It's emotions regulated in such a way. It's not bypassing. It's not about, you know, glossing over, but it is about sitting in that throne from a higher perspective that is balanced and even keeled. Okay. And not just driven by analysis and mental, you know, faculties, but also not just sheer impulse and desire. A balance and a maturity. There's a maturation there. So, you know, never losing sight of that big picture, because the world is rarely kind to tender-hearted dreamers. But this king has experienced that suffering, making them empathetic, but not to be duped. So they realize that understanding the world is essential, because you can't play the game if you don't know the rules. To enlist the sympathy and help of this person, be sincere and make sure your idea truly serves a greater good in some way. Try to trick them and you'll feel the wrath generated by all the wounds they've suffered. So yeah, this represents a highly empathetic and intuitive individual. So again, whether this is specifically a person, you, someone else that you encounter this week, or it's an aspect of situations and personalities in the mix, or all of the above, we're knowing that it does represent that. And as I was saying in the card pull, you know, it's almost like we've been going through this intensely deep emotional time, and there's all these things that were drudged up that eclipse has shaken loose. And in some ways, there's just been this great flashes of, you know, creating these powerful portals for transformation and change and abrupt endings to things, and you know, starting to see the new beginnings that are coming in on the other side of that. There's all of this stuff that's come up in the net, you know, all of these things that were caught up in it. And for many of us, it's stuff from our past that we didn't even realize we were still carrying. We didn't even know that rubber ducky was still down there, you know, that old love letter, you know, all of these different symbols that we see in this net, that getting all those things caught up in the net is calling for a bit of emotional maturity, spiritual maturity, so that we can sift through those things and create from that place of authentic authority that is balanced in nature. It's not extreme in either way. And so that is a blessing, to receive either that awareness yourself, to be coming into that yourself, or to maybe have an encounter with someone who holds that frequency that you can then dip into, again, in a very synergistic way. We're not talking about energy vampirism here. We're talking about an exchange of energy where there's something that's being modeled by someone, could be you, in the way that there is an understanding of the big picture, an understanding of what this all has served, and an ability to very clearly weed out and clear out that which is no longer serving, and then bringing into heart and creating from there with those things that do serve and will serve as you go. So that is definitely a lovely energy here in the middle of this week, just as we're stepping into Scorpio season and really taking all these things in for introspection and review. And I just love that symbolism of the net and all the things that were caught up in it, and taking this time to sort of mindfully, but also heartfully sort and sift through those things and make those decisions accordingly, so that, again, we're not carrying all of that with us from here. Let's take a look now at how we're growing for Thursday. Okay, Thursday is how we are growing, and it brings back another repeat card, but specifically in the same position that it came up last week. This is the card I mentioned in the card pull that flew out. I put it back in, I shuffled back up, and 2 cards came out. It was this one, the Page of Swords, and the Ace of Pentacles, which was featuring a pumpkin offering that was this seed of potential. And now we've got the Page of Swords back. And, just with all of the synchronicity and symbolism that's coming in here, as we see here with the spiritual protection, with that sword of truth and clarity that's cutting through. And now we see sort of this novice beginner way of trying to wield that big sword themselves. I'm feeling guided to pull a clarifying card with this one, because I know that we broke down the messages of the Page of Swords last week, and we're going to touch on that again through the lens here of the Trick or Treat Tarot. But I'm asking for a clarifying card, how we are growing. We received this seed last week, this potential, this coin, this deposit into what new is coming forward in the future. And we have a lot of that choice point, future focus energy coming in here this week, that I'm asking for something to clarify this Page of Swords coming up 2 weeks in a row in the same position in our spread for us collectively. So one card here to sort of expand upon the story of the Page of Swords as an archetype that's coming up for us to tap into as we grow. So one card there, please. The 10 of Wands. Wow. So that's interesting, because the week starts with the 9 of Wands that sort of has this best practice for us to be very cognizant of our energy, of our stash that we have here, that we have worked very hard to cultivate, and that we be a little mindful and protective of that, and as it pertains to the way in which we give so freely to others of our energy, and how there could be some coming in for the taking of that energy, wittingly, unwittingly, right? I don't know the story of this one. This looks like an ogre. I know the story of the 10 of Wands, though, and it is a card of overload and burnout and just taking on too much. And look at the other folks that are around the fire there. So there's definitely this energy of, intentions that come with having this new awareness and knowledge and, some type of a truth or something that sword would represent. It could be a bright idea. It could be, being inspired in some way to create something. And we're really jazzed about that. So there's this energy of, really wanting to put that out there and show it and share it. And, here I am, look at me with my big sword that I have here going on that's all shiny and new and novel. But actually, there's also this energy of the 10 coming in here to go with that. So how are we growing in that? The Page of Swords, which does represent a more youthful energy. This is the one that can talk about like the the child who is very, has a lot of, we'll say stubbornness, because they're very aware of what they want and how they want to do it. And they're eager to express it in the way that they feel inspired, which is coming through their very childlike, curious, inexperienced, yes, clever, perhaps, lens, the ways in which a child may dig their heels in and insist that they got this, they can do it, right? This is what we're talking about, trying to hold on to all that yourself, to do it all yourself, to insist that, you'll just take care of it. Those are the things that can lead to burnout, overload. Now, just while we're talking about the Page of Swords here, there is an energy of, trying to, when you're coexisting with someone in that energy who maybe is very insistent that they got it, that they know what they're doing, or if it's you, if you're stubborn to ask for help or to know that, you don't know, there's a nod there. So how are we growing in that? Well, the 10 of Wands, let's see what this story is. After a hard night of trick-or-treating, some like to relax around a bonfire. Maybe someone asked Quasimodo to haul the wood because he looked so strong. Maybe he is strong, but that costume makes the process really cumbersome. Couldn't someone help him? Does he not want help? Did he lose some contest and now must carry 10 long sticks? When this card comes up, you're overwhelmed. You might feel burdened by many small things or one big one. There is simply too much going on and too many demands on your time, energy, and attention. Some questions to consider include, do you have to carry everything now? What can safely be set aside? Who can help with the load? Is there an easier way to manage all your obligations? There are times when you do have to manage it all. If that is your case, may your burdens ease soon. That is possible because to get all tarot speak on you, the 10s indicate the end of a cycle. Yes. So yeah, 10s are the end of a chapter, completion, wholeness, a cycle that's ending. And like I said, it can be one that ends in a little bit of a burnout there if we insist on doing it all ourselves, carrying it all ourselves, navigating it all ourselves, or just all of it all at once. And so, this is where there's an opportunity for us to see how and where we can lighten our load. Remember, this is how we're growing, which means, again, it's not our first bonfire here. We know how this works. And so with that in mind, best practices for making sure that we are divvying up the energy well, and utilizing the wisdom of the hindsight of the experiences that we have already had that can help to inform us in that way. So, I see there's some activity happening outside the door that has my dog Cooper's attention. So yeah, burdens, obligations, numerous opportunities, duties, and responsibilities, all being highlighted here. But like I said, this is growth. This is expansion. This is something that we're picking up on anew. So that's all good. So let's go ahead and pull up our final card for Friday to round out our collective messages. All right, I'm going to try to do Friday's card. I'm cracking up because the kids just left to go outside. Cooper, my dog, is very upset about that fact. So he's running around crying. And I thought, we're bringing in the Friday card, which is Romeo and Juliet. And isn't that the one that says, parting is such sweet sorrow? Isn't that one of the lines? Like he is just beside himself that they've gone. So apologies again for any of those noises in the background. So Friday culminates our week here of our collective messages with the 2 of Cups, bringing these 2 star-crossed lovers together with another 2, right? So we have the energy here of choice points, of coming together, of synergy, if we will, or not, right? So it says, despite their sad ends, Romeo and Juliet are the poster kids for romance. They're just a couple of kids, really, and are in love with love. For now, that's all great for them. Can such a passion survive the realities of long-term commitment, kids, jobs, rent, and health insurance? Every first kiss tells you if the spark is there, but it can't tell you if there is enough gas in the tank for the long haul. trick or treat. So when this card comes up, get ready for an unexpected and delightful connection. Romantic possibilities are definitely implied, but we're not limited to that. You could find a new friend, a new interest or hobby, a new group to join or community to participate in. Just like a first kiss lets you know if there is definitely something there, you will know if there is mutual interest. That's a good start, but that's all this card promises. You'll have to explore to see if it can last. Enjoy the moment, but take off the rose-colored planning for the future glasses for now. So yes, this is what we kind of started here because we were talking about the barmbrack and the things that were all baked in, right? And the notion that if you get this, it means this. If you get this in your slice, this is your future. This is your oracle message. And, really trying to take back our power when it comes to the ways in which we may be perceiving potentialities and weaving together stories and all those types of things. So I think that's really key. Taking off the rose-colored planning glasses for now, right? And so, we're not wanting to get too starry-eyed in all of that. I am feeling with the tree behind them here that there is a call to get grounded and to really, 2 feet on the ground from a practical place, to not get too swept up in any one thing, which is, of course, all these emotions, all of this energy of, what has been drug in, what has come up to the surface that we're now creating and co-creating from. But, the fact that they're toasting here and we're bringing in the champagne, the bubbly, the sense of the lightness of life, the fun, not taking any of it too seriously and just being in the moment and enjoying it for what it is and doing what we can not to get too ahead of it, and that's a theme that we've been seeing here about getting too swept up, caught up, trying to analyze the death out of everything or trying to forecast ahead so that we feel prepared, trying to take it all on at once, understanding that it's all unfolding and it's all regarding a series of choices that we're making in any given moment that open us up or close out potentialities for different timelines. So it really does bring together these two, that closed door behind her to say that, what's behind here? What's behind here? And we don't know. There is no way for us to know with any sort of certainty here. And yet we see the skull and crossbones on their glasses. So there's a notion of, don't just rule from one place or the other. The head, the heart, the gut, the desire for what it is that we wish. It's a synergy between all of those parts. So we really have come full circle into what all is baked in there. And it's a little bit of everything. Savor the sweetness, but watch out that you don't bite into and choke on a pea. From the barmbrack. Anyway, so we bring that all forward to culminate into this week of choice, this week of, opportunity to blend and synergize and bring together, creating from this place of what all has come forward through everything that we've just been navigating up to this point throughout this month and this season. And now as we turn toward a new season with Scorpio season here now, having this time to go within and have that introspection, but also allowing yourself to have some lightness and joy along the way. So there we go. Cooper says it's time to end. He's watching me through the glass door with very sad puppy dog eyes. So I'm going to go give him some cuddles as he misses his little kiddos here. And thank you all once again for being here. If you would like a personal card pull, again, please feel free to let me know. And I will send you a personal polo this week with your card pull to build on these messages. And I look forward to hearing from you throughout the week how these are unfolding for you. And remember, this is all collective guidance, so your unique situations will vary. So feel free to take what resonates, leave the rest. There's always someone there to pick it up. but it will never be short of just amazing to see how it in fact does play out for each of us one way or the other. So once again, thank you. I'll definitely be in this week with some more of my seasonal musings, with some of the other decks and goodies that I have to share here as we continue on down the road of spooky season. So thank you all once again. Much love, many blessings.